But before Berlin, before Prague or Timisoara, you stopped off in Moscow to bid farewell to that Russia of the last century, casting a portrait of an era through the portrait of a man, Alexander Ivanovich Medvedkin, the last Bolshevik, whose rosebud was a red flag. You wrote, so the picture book was closing, the one that had opened with the Potemkin's first dead, and whose last idols would fall that same night. We live worlds apart, even further than Medvedkin from Prince Yusupov. So much so, it's easier to imagine Flash Gordon storming the Winter Palace before these moustached men. They are relics of Planet Mongo, frayed ribbon of that picture book, long since closed. But now that I think about it, long before I saw your road in Iceland or jetty at Orly, I too was in Moscow with Iron Felix. I was taking his picture without knowing you were there the night of his hanging. Who says statues die after all? When the present is perforated by memory, not unlike the pockmarked marble of a reborn metro station, images once deemed inconsequential suddenly rush to the surface. It's these moments of harmony which put into true perspective the fragility of filmmaking. You wrote that would be the end of utopia, the very idea of utopia. The promise of the 1990s may have succeeded in flushing out Leninism, but what stood in its place was more cronyism than Cobainism. The collapse of USSR left behind an immense topography of exhausted industry, ecological distress and territorial dispute, with siblings of the Chernobyl zone reaching far beyond the Ukrainian border. Lenin's legacy is littered from the Baltic to the Bering Sea, the Carpathian Mountains to the Pamir, and back to the Caucasus.